Greetings to the most amazing army of XRP. I won't waste any more time. Now let's get into the video. You should all be sitting up right now, because I have something to tell you. You should listen to this if you now own XRP or intend to acquire any quantity of it. The XRP community has been yelling one thing for years. The bridge is XRP. It isn't a meme. Hopium isn't it. The prophecy has been gradually becoming a reality. And lastly, the organizations that previously disregarded or derided this notion are now publicly endorsing it. This might have a huge impact and alter portfolios. I therefore ask that you, my wonderful audience, grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's get started. Press the like button. As a result, this video hits the subscribe button and reaches other incredible people who are just like you, so you don't miss any significant market updates. Amazing XRP army now. Let's get straight to the important details. The Federal Reserve is openly discussing tokenization on blockchain rails and chain settlements with large international banks and trillion-dollar funds. Everything for which XRP was designed. The irony? Real-time evidence is now showing that the same retail investors who were mocked for having faith in this digital bridge were correct. Traditional markets and blockchain technology are combining to create a new financial landscape. What was formerly written off as crypto conspiracy theories is now the foundation of contemporary banking. Blockchain payment solutions are being publicly tested by the Federal Reserve. Franklin Templeton and BlackRock are transferring assets on-chain. The effectiveness of digital settlements has suddenly become a major concern for all major institutions. Like XRP and Ripple, which already have corridors, alliances, and liquidity models in place. The question is not whether they will continue to use XRP, the question is when. Now just hear what the insiders have to say. Within 5 years, all regularly traded financial instruments will be on-chain. Not from a crypto influencer, that is. Traditional finance leaders who oversee trillions of dollars are saying that. They claim that on-chain exchange-traded funds, ETFs, tokenized equities, and tokenized bonds are unavoidable. Digital ledgers manage automatic rebalancing, automatic settlement, and one-click transactions. A universal bridge is required for that future. Not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, but an asset that's purpose-built to shift value instantly with near-zero cost. That's the whole purpose of XRP. Let's consider the scale in its context. Global debt, $654 trillion in equities, $145 trillion in bonds, $120 trillion in ad money markets, global real estate, and sovereign wealth funds add up to more than $4 trillion. However, hardly any of it is tokenized. Not quite yet. All of this will run on blockchain rails over the course of the next 5 to 10 years. Which networks will convey that value is the next question. The ones that central banks have already tested are quick, compliant, and liquid. And Ripple's XRP ledger is where that list starts and finishes. This is why XRP holders are so relentless, because the value of the assets carrying this value will skyrocket if trillions upon trillions of dollars begin to travel through on-chain corridors. XRP is more than simply a coin. It's a piece of the financial system of the future. Liquidity will be essential when the world switches to blockchain settlements. It won't be a luxury. And in the digital economy, XRP is the oxygen tank that every institution will require. That is the magnitude that we are discussing here. The banks are beginning to panic in the meanwhile. Stablecoins are eating their lunch while they watch. Cryptocurrency is giving people better yields than traditional savings accounts have ever provided. Now, banks are pleading with regulators to limit this, claiming it harms communities. However, the reality is straightforward. People are fed up with 0.5% interest rates while inflation eats away at their money. Money is being transferred by the younger generation into blockchain assets that genuinely benefit them. And that's why the traditional system is battling tooth and nail to slow this transformation. However, it's too late. Banks are complaining, but DeFi is quietly taking their place. Without a bank in the middle, you can lend, borrow, and settle transactions more quickly and openly than any other institution on the planet. These banks, who for decades shunned innovation, are now afraid of losing deposits to on-chain yield systems. What about the irony? Instead of pleading with Congress for protection, they would be spearheading this change if they had embraced innovation sooner. Simply said, XRP and comparable assets are evolving, something the banks were unable to do. The situation is becoming more heated. Let's discuss the figures that the banks would prefer you not to see. You will earn $500 annually if you invest $100,000 in a bank that pays 0.5%. That same $100,000, however, would yield $8,000 if invested in a cryptocurrency stablecoin that yields 8%. That's a difference of $7,500. And for that reason, a large number of people are abandoning the previous system. That is a death sentence for banks on a large scale, because every dollar that leaves a bank account contributes to the blockchain economy, where XRP is positioned as the settlement core as money moves along the chain. There are fissures visible even within the system. The Federal Reserve acknowledged that its whole payment system might be upgraded by blockchain-based settlements. FedNow, a temporary centralized system they created, is insufficient. Although it is instantaneous, it is not blockchain, programmable, or interoperable. Integration with private sector solutions is the only way to move forward, and Ripple is the perfect solution for it. Global financial executives and regulators have previously met with Ripple. They are in the room creating the financial rails of the future. In the meanwhile, Ripple's acquisitions of businesses such as G-Treasury, Matico, and Hidden Road reveal all about their future plans. Ripple is discreetly positioning itself as the bridge asset within the enormous U.S. repo market, which is worth $12 trillion. Consider XRP resolving trillions of dollars in overnight transactions between financial institutions. There is no denying the math. Models suggest that even a $10 billion injection into XRP's liquidity layer might cause its price to rise from less than 3 to 90. The numbers quickly get enormous when you scale that up to trillions. This is enormous. Think about how XRP functions. Not only is it used once or twice, it has the ability to enter and exit hallways hundreds of thousands of times every day. However, reusability decreases as banks and other institutions lock up their liquidity pools. XRP leaves circulation once it is assimilated into global systems. Demand soars, supply becomes more scarce, and prices sharply rise in response. This is how real utility-driven price action occurs. It comes from math, not from hype. The mood inside the Federal Reserve is already changing. Fed officials acknowledged in a recent conversation that distributed ledgers and cryptocurrency assets are no longer considered peripheral. They claim to be actively investigating tokenization, smart contracts, and the use of AI to payments. For the most wonderful deals now available to our amazing crypto community, our amazing viewers can check out my bio or pinned comment. Let's get back to the good news. The Fed, the world's most conservative financial institution, has stated that blockchain technology has the potential to improve their own payment system. It's a subdued affirmation that all of our expectations are accurate. The discussion over bridge assets is already taking place behind closed doors. Denying XRP's future now would be equivalent to rejecting the internet in the 1990s. You have the ability to postpone, question, and dispute. But in the end, reality prevails. Value is shifting on a chain as the world digitizes, and XRP serves as the link between all asset classes, markets, and currencies. Whether the banks like it or not, the adoption wave is coming. The only true question is whether you will wait for it to happen or take your position before it does. Because chances like these only come around once in a lifetime. People aren't exaggerating when they claim it's happening. They're explaining the very moment we're in at the moment. In real time, the bridge is being constructed. Governments, banks, funds, and entrepreneurs are getting ready to embrace XRP as the glue holding the world's financial system together. It is now confirmation rather than conjecture. If you have been